The young and the restless spoilers shock. Diane's departure from Genoa City has set off a cascade of questions, each one weighing more heavily on her conscience than the last. In the solitude of her temporary refuge, whether it be a quiet lakeside cottage far from the Abbott mansion or a secluded suite in a city she scarcely knows, Diane has been forced to confront every misstep that led her to this self-imposed exile. Night after night, she lies awake replaying conversations she once thought inconsequential, the sly half-truths she offered Jack when pressed about her past, the careless omissions that left Kyle wondering about his own identity, and the well-intentioned lies she spun to protect those she loved. Each memory surfaces like a shard of ice, pricking her resolve and reminding her that confidence, once shattered, is nearly impossible to reassemble. She questions whether she can ever look Jack in the eye again, or whether every touch and promise between them will now be tainted by the specter of deceit. Meanwhile, back in Genoa City, Jack Abbott struggles to maintain his trademark composure. At Jabot, board meetings have become tense affairs. Shareholders note his distracted gaze, his sudden absences, and the uncharacteristic irritation he directs at longtime colleagues. Friends and family tiptoe around the subject of Diane's disappearance, offering condolences while instinctively guarding their own tongues against repeating rumors. Jack's interactions with Kyle grow strained as well. The young man, sensing both a father's protectiveness and a hint of betrayal in Jack's eyes, tiptoes around private questions, wrestling with his own fears. Has Diane taken something vital from him, perhaps the certainty of Jack's paternity? Or is she simply overwhelmed by guilt over a past that, regardless of its nature, she believes is too toxic to confront? Moments that once belonged to shared laughter, Sunday brunches, impromptu tennis matches, evenings spent sprawled on the sofa discussing company strategy, have given way to silent dinners and glances that linger too long before turning away. Genoa's rumor mill churns without mercy. At society events, whispers flutter through drawing rooms and garden parties. I heard Diane left because she discovered something about Kyle's heritage, one guest will say, prompting another to murmur, perhaps she never had the right to stand beside Jack in the first place. Even tabloids seize upon the drama, speculating wildly about a secret child, a hidden marriage, or a past liaison that could upend the very foundation of the Abbott dynasty. Yet insiders with closer ties to Diane insist these stories are pure fabrication. They point instead to her unshakable loyalty to Jack and Kyle, the lengths she's gone to shield them from scandal in seasons past, and the very real burden of guilt she carries over indiscretions no outsider could fully understand. That she would ever betray Jack in such a fundamental way, they argue, is unthinkable, yet the court of public opinion rarely considers nuance. Amidst this swirl of conjecture, a handful of Jack's most trusted confidants step forward to assist in the search. From Paul Williams, whose journalistic instincts drive him to uncover the truth, to Ashley Abbott, whose fierce protectiveness of family compels her to leave no stone unturned, they weave a network of inquiries that spans from the docks of the harbor to back-alley safehouses. Each clue they unearth, however small, a receipt for a late-night motel stay, a cryptic text message erased from Diane's phone, a witness who glimpsed a familiar figure guiding her into an unmarked vehicle, only deepens the mystery. Diane, for her part, vacillates between relief and panic whenever she hears that investigators are closing in, relief that they might discover her whereabouts, panic that when they do, they'll reach the truths she so desperately wants to keep hidden. Inside Diane's mind, the stakes have never felt higher. She recognizes that genuine redemption requires confession, but fear cages her lips. What if Jack, upon learning her full story, chooses exile of his own, leaving her to spend the rest of her days in isolation and remorse? What if Kyle, upon hearing the rumors of his questionable parentage are true, rejects her entirely, severing the bond she's fought so hard to forge? These what-ifs play on an endless loop in Diane's thoughts, pushing her ever closer to the brink of a confession, yet her pride and love for Jack hold her back. She steels herself for the day she must return, practicing a heartfelt apology in the mirror, imagining Jack's face, pained, angry, but ultimately forgiving. Before curling into herself and weeping at the impossibility of it all. As the days stretch into weeks, external forces begin to intrude upon Diane's chosen seclusion. A mysterious benefactor wired money into her account, enough to sustain her for months, accompanied by an unsigned note, "You owe them the truth." She has no idea who they are, but the message jolts her from her spiraling guilt. Soon after, an anonymous package arrives at her door. Inside, a single photograph from years ago, capturing Diane, Jack, and Kyle in happier times, their smiles wide, the future unwritten. No note accompanies the photo, but the implication is clear. Someone wants her to remember why she left in the first place, and perhaps to understand that those she loves will suffer far more if she remains hidden. Back in Genoa City, the power vacuum left by Diane's absence begins to manifest in tangible ways. Jack, unbalanced by grief and uncertainty, makes brash corporate decisions, entering risky mergers, renegotiating contracts under duress, and even publicly questioning his own leadership. The board's patience wears thin, and rumors of a coup swirl around Jabot's executive offices. Kyle, too, steps into unfamiliar territory, taking on more responsibility at Newman Enterprises in a bid to prove his worth to both family names, his every move shadowed by speculation that he may at any moment be thrust into his father's former role. The entire Abbott legacy hovers on the precipice. Without Diane's stabilizing presence, cracks in the family's unity grow wider by the hour. Finally, the tension reaches a breaking point when Jack, guided by both love and the board's insistence, issues a public plea for Diane's return. He admits, on live television, that he cannot run Jabot without her counsel, and that his heart remains incomplete in her absence. Thousands tune in to watch, and for the first time in weeks, Diane feels something stir within her, not fear, but hope. She realizes that true atonement can no longer wait for the perfect moment, it must be sought in the imperfect now. Gathering her courage, Diane steps out of her hiding place and boards a flight back to Genoa City, where the full weight of her past awaits. In her hands, she clutches the photograph she received, a silent vow that no matter how dark the revelations to come, she will face them head-on, for the sake of the man she loves, the son she cherishes, and the family she once almost lost. Though whispers in Genoa City insist that Diane has been abducted, perhaps by former allies who now fear what she might reveal, the truth is far more complex. In reality, Diane slipped away of her own volition, seeking sanctuary in a quiet coastal village several hours' drive from the city she once called home. Nestled between windswept dunes and limestone cliffs, this hidden enclave offers her the chance to vanish into anonymity, to start the new life she's longed for since the scandals began. She chose this path not out of cowardice, but from a deep resolve to protect Jack and Kyle from further fallout. She refuses to allow those she cares about to be dragged into the intrigues and vendettas that once defined her world. There, in a rented beachfront cottage with weathered blue shutters, Diane spends her days walking the shoreline at dawn, gathering her thoughts with each tide, and reminding herself that the greatest harm she might do now is to return unprepared. Jack and Kyle, bewildered by her sudden disappearance, scour every lead. Jack's mind races. He knows Diane faces peril, but can't identify a single enemy capable of orchestrating such a plot. He asks himself why a kidnapping narrative gained traction so quickly. If Diane merely fled, why seed rumors of abduction? The answer, he begins to suspect, may lie with those very old allies of Diane's, friends from her past whose loyalty once served her but whose motivations have since twisted. Perhaps they orchestrated a false disappearance to force her into silence, or conversely, they spread abduction stories to draw Jack's attention away from Diane's own chosen refuge. In either case, their gambit is clear, they want Diane out of circulation. Then, on the third morning after she vanished, Jack's phone buzzes with an incoming text from Diane's number. His heart hammers as he reads the brief, cryptic message, "Meet me where our story began. Come alone. Trust no one but yourself." Moments later, an unaddressed letter slides through the slot of his office door at Jabot. The envelope is heavy, cream-colored, sealed with a circle of red wax stamped with Diane's personal crest. Inside, on stationery that smells faintly of salt and lavender, are her carefully penned words, My dearest Jack, if you are reading this, then my plan, to vanish for a time, has succeeded. I know the city will whisper that I was taken against my will, but I assure you, this exile was mine alone to choose. I could not bear to watch you and Kyle hurt over the secrets that still cling to me, nor could I face the reckoning without first finding my own peace. I have sought safety in the place where we shared our first sunrise together, a small cove just beyond the northern cliffs of Seaview Bay. There, I will wait for you until you are ready to come for me. I understand the pain my absence causes you both. Please believe that every step I have taken has been to shield you from the storm of my past. I have no desire to harm anyone, nor to inflict further damage on the people I love. If you follow the path along Shoreline Road at first light tomorrow, when the tide is lowest, you will find a weathered boardwalk leading to a lifeguard tower marked Diane's Refuge. Knock once. If I do not answer, wait until I call your name. As for those who spread talk of kidnapping, know that silence is my greatest ally. Do not trust any official inquiry or well-meaning friend who claims to save me. They carry the echoes of old debts and unspoken bargains. Turn your back on them and come straight to me. I love you more than words can hold, and I believe in the strength of our family. Protect Kyle for me, and do not doubt my heart. Until dawn, Diane. Jack rereads the letter in stunned silence. Every familiar flourish in her handwriting, every deliberate reference to our story, reminds him of the woman he fell in love with, courageous, proud, and fiercely protective of those she loves. Yet the letter raises as many questions as it answers. Who arranged the red-sealed stationery? Who might have leaked the rumors of kidnapping? And most urgently, can Jack trust the directions she's given, or has this message itself been manipulated by unseen hands? As dawn approaches, Jack knows he must decide. Follow Diane's trail to that hidden cove, confront whatever dangers await, and risk everything on the promise of her words, or stay behind, safeguarding Kyle and Jabot while Diane remains a mystery written in salt and sand. The choice he makes at first light will determine not only Diane's fate, but the future of the Abbott family he holds dear.